Hello everyone, my name is Jared Borup. I apologize that I couldn't be there today. I'm actually at another conference in Florida. And if you're watching this, it means that Skyping or doing a Google Hangout from one conference hotel to another conference hotel is not a good idea. So this may be the best that we can do. But I am excited to talk about this work that we've done. So this is a book chapter that we wrote, Jeff Drysdale and I, on the importance of on-site and online facilitators, kind of what we know in the field and what we should be thinking about moving forward. So currently I teach at George Mason University, but previously I taught in a 9th grade classroom in Idaho. Anyone that teaches face-to-face, you develop these strong relationships with these students. And when you go to high school graduation and you look around for some of those students and they're not there, it's pretty heartbreaking, and you know that they're struggling academically, and you know how that will impact their lives. So we really have an issue in this country with the dropout rate. Right now, the on-time graduation rate is 80%, so it's better than what's shown in this cartoon. But to think about that, that means if I looked at my 9th grade students and I counted them off, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, every 5th student on average would not graduate on time. And in an online environment, if you look at online courses, the attrition rate is much higher than that in some places. In some places it's better, but in a lot of places it's much higher. And so the question is, how do we help students be successful and help them reach their goals? So what's the solution? Well, there are no silver bullets, and it's complicated. But mentors are likely to play an important role in this. So let's talk about what mentors are. So what's the difference between a teacher and a mentor? Well, a teacher is a content expert. They're also experts in the pedagogy. And so we really want teachers to have the time to use those skills as much as they can to assess students, to make modifications for students, and tutor students when they need it. What a mentor does is that they spend their time really making sure everything is working well. So they don't need to know the content. All they need to know is what it takes to be a successful online learner. And once they've gained that, they can mentor students in doing just that, being successful online. So what are the models of mentoring that we found in the research? We really found 3 models. The first one is kind of the parent as mentors. This is typically seen in elementary school settings where there's a parent that's working very closely with the students. Sometimes they're called learning coaches, and the teacher can interact directly with the student, but also spends a lot of their time working with parents, making sure that everything is going well. In older grades, typically what happens is that students are taking a single online class, and the rest of their classes are face-to-face. So here we have 4 schools, and each school has a mentor that's assigned to the students in that class, and they work with students face-to-face and really help them to know what they need to do and to develop relationships with them and try to motivate them to engage in what's going on. Mentors also keep parents in the loop. So they interact with parents, and in some ways they act as a communication link, because when parents have concerns, they likely contact the mentor and then they pass that along to the online teacher. When students have concerns, if they have questions about course procedures or something like that, the mentor can respond to that. But if it's questions about the content, they should be passing that along to the teacher. So what about full-time programs? This is one of the fastest growing areas of K-12 online learning, are these cyber schools, or these full-time online schools, a lot of charter schools and things like that. In these environments, these students take all or most of their courses from the cyber school and never step foot in a brick and mortar school. And so their needs are the same, so how can these schools provide them with mentoring that they need? Well, one answer is, well, you can go to the parent as mentor model, and some do that, but not all students have the option of having a parent at home to work with them closely. And to be absolutely honest, some teenagers don't want their mom sitting next to them all the time and telling them what to do. And so some full-time online programs, one in particularly is Mountain Heights Academy in Utah, which is a full-time charter school. They developed what's called a shepherding program, and in the shepherding program, each teacher becomes a mentor to some of the students. So for instance, the science teacher here is a mentor, science teacher, but also a mentor to about 20 students. The math teacher is a mentor to another 20 students, different students. History teacher, same thing. An English teacher, same thing. So by doing this, each student has a teacher or a mentor that they can go to when they have concerns about anything regarding the school. So it doesn't have to be academic. If they're not getting along or they're being bullied, they have someone to reach out to, a kind of an anchor adult. And also these mentors reach out to them and try to build relationships. And the research at Mountain Heights Academy has found that online you can develop very strong relationships, but it takes time. And so these mentors are given the time to really interact with them personally, make sure everything's going well, and when they see red flags, pass those on to the other teachers. So we talk generally about mentor responsibilities, but what are they specifically? One researcher said that their main responsibility is to ensure that everything is working smoothly. And so we found that they do that in 3 different ways when we looked at the research. The first way is to encourage interactions and foster relationships. Again, creating relationships take time, and so it's not something that you can necessarily rush, and so mentors need to be given that time to interact with the students either online or face-to-face and to build those relationships, and that's really foundational to the other responsibilities. Another responsibility that's very similar to that is not only do they need to interact with the students, but they need to encourage the students to interact with their parents and with their teacher at times and show them how to interact online. The second responsibility is to monitor and motivate student engagement. In an online course, there's all sorts of analytic data that mentors can use. Either face-to-face or online mentors can use this data, and it can be extremely helpful. One teacher that was interviewed in a study said that analytic data are like digital footprints where they can track students and what they do online. So that can be a great way to diagnose the cause of maybe some low-performing students. And when they recognize that students are performing low, they need to encourage them and motivate them. Online teachers are not content experts, but they should have knowledge on what it takes to be a good online learner, and so they need to instruct students on how to do that. There's also been some research that's found, especially with on-site facilitators, that their proximity to the student is a big draw to them, and so they'll actually ask their on-site mentor for help with the content. And this is kind of a gray area because at times the online instructor welcomes that and they really like it. Other times the online instructor does not want the mentor to help with content because they're worried they're going to be getting misinformation. And so it's really dependent on what types of questions are being asked and the content that it's regarding. So the big question that everyone asks is do mentors impact student performance? And the short answer is research seems to say yes. But as we know with research, nothing is that simple. So the long answer is yes, they can when they're given professional development and time to fulfill their responsibilities. And that's really critical. There isn't a lot of research on this, and a lot of it is kind of exploratory, qualitative research. But there has been some quantitative research that have been fairly interesting that have shown that mentors that receive professional development and time to fulfill their responsibilities have greater success with students than those that don't. And I understand that that's kind of, well, yeah, duh, that should be happening. But a lot of mentors aren't receiving professional development because online learning is seen by many as a cost-saving tool, and providing professional development and time costs money. And so we need to find ways to effectively and efficiently do that. So the question is, so what? Well, like I just said, mentors need professional development and time. If they don't, their impact is going to be much less than when they do. So research can help with this because we need research to really identify what types of professional development is important, what type of attributes are important. Basically, we've identified 6 areas that we really need to look more into. One is most of the research, and again the research is limited, but most of that research is focused on the on-site facilitator, and we need more research on the online mentoring and facilitating model. We also need to use a variety of methodology. I mentioned before that most of the research is kind of exploratory, and that is critical initially, and I think we still need some of that exploratory. In fact, we really need research in a variety of settings that explore what these mentors and facilitators are doing. But we also need to move beyond that and start looking at some mixed methods and some quantitative research that can look at the impact of mentoring. We also need to start using some theoretical frameworks to organize our thoughts, and by doing that we can actually have a more coordinated research efforts. Without that, I feel like a lot of the research will be duplicated and we'll kind of spin our wheels a little bit longer than we'd need to. The other thing that we need to look at is there are lots of emerging blended learning models that reduce the face-to-face contact with the instructor but doesn't eliminate it. And so it would be interesting to have more research on how mentors could be used in this type of environment. Thank you for coming to the presentation. I'd love to continue the conversation with you. I'm putting my contact information up here. Please feel free to email me or send me a tweet, and I'd be happy to talk more with you. I'm also putting the website link to a program that we have at George Mason University. It's called the Integration of Online Learning in Schools, and it's an entire master's program that's really designed to help teachers become better online teachers. So we have a master's program, a certificate program. If anyone would like more information on that, please feel free to contact me, and I'd love to talk more about that as well. So thank you, and hope to talk to you soon. Bye.